Hello, welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're going to review the GunSkin's kit for the AR-15. Here we have the GunSkin's kit for the AR-15 series rifles. And as you can see, it covers the kit pretty good. They're pretty generous with the material they gave you. I had enough material to do this entire kit, plus do the MRO scope that I run on it. So they are very generous with the material. They do give you pre-cut sections made for the AR-15, but I'm going to go ahead and call that semi-pre-cut. And the reason I say that is all their pre-cut sections involved the receiver. Now, we're not doing an instructional video on how to do this for the AR-15, but we are going to include a lot of still photographs in this video from when we did the gun. And the reason for that is pretty simple, is it came down to the fact we were videoing that day and quality of the video just was horrible. But we also were taking still pictures and that seemed to come out pretty good. When you receive your GunSkin's kit, the first thing you get is a template for your magazine. It'll work with multiple magazines. I have done both GI aluminum magazines and Magpul PMags, and the magazine kits fit on both just fine, no trouble. The procedure is very easy to follow for doing those, and we will do a video in the future about doing magazines both for your AR and your AK. Just giving a view of both sides of the gun here. When you do the kit, they have you start off here on the left side of the gun. You do the upper receiver, and it is cut to go around the bolt carrier key bump out. And be careful when you're stretching your stuff. I got a little crease in here, but it's really minor. And honestly, when you're an arm's length away, you don't see it. Once you do the upper receiver, then you do this portion of the lower receiver. Then they have you do the mag well. Then you do the safety lever. After finishing up the left side of the gun, they have you move over to the right side. The first thing you end up doing is the dust cover. The next part is that little area below the dust cover, but above the fence right there. After that, you move on to your shell deflector, then your forward assist, and then your right side receiver, then your right side lower receiver. And though very hard to see here on the video, once you heat treat it and you rub it enough, fire and safe do come through. Like I said, they're more visible to the naked eye than they are here on video. You then do your magazine release, then you do your fence, then you do your magazine well. And that pretty much ends up your pre-cut pieces. This is an AR-15 kit, but I'd say it's a semi-prepared AR-15 kit. And probably the reason they do it that way is the zillion configurations that an AR-15 can be had in. Like on this particular rifle, I'm running a Magpul CTR stock. I have a Surefire forearm. I have a lot of exposed barrel. In the instructional video, which is pretty good, it's not the best one they've done, but the one they do for the AR is pretty good. They use an AR that's got a full-length 15-inch M-LOK handguard on it and running a Magpul buttstock like you see here. I feel in that video they gloss over what it takes to do the buttstock very quickly. It's a pretty intricate part, and it took me the longest to do on this rifle. I think the result is okay, but it's pretty detailed work. And I ended up using a lot of small pieces, a lot of scrap, trying to fill in the blanks. They made it look, oh, you just press it on? No, it's harder than that. Now, I did have some challenges here with the Surefire forearm, but you know, they are not that bad. As you can see, when you look at the rifle, you've got this light built into it. Matter of fact, you have two lights built into it. And a lot of texture. You have the texture of a normal AR car handguard. You have lots of texture right here in the vent holes. You got a lot of contours on the light. So that was a difficult one to do. Now, one of the things they do recommend in the video, and I'll recommend even stronger, is here. When you put the GunSkin over the handguard, you have to cut out any holes, and that applies anywhere on the rifle. They recommend having a sharp blade, and they are not kidding. Whatever they make this vinyl out of, it's pretty tough stuff, and it goes through knife blades like crazy. You know, so you're constantly changing blades. As you can see, I started this with a new blade, and by the time I got to the last holes, it was getting pretty rough. Also, in the video, they will say, heat it up to make it pliable, let it cool before you cut. Now, they're not joking about that either. And when they say let it cool, give it several minutes. You know, don't just be, oh, I gave it 10 seconds of heat, so give it 10 seconds of cooling. No, no. Give it minutes of cooling for seconds of heat. But on the other hand, as you can see, it does conform to the texture to the point that you can read the word Surefire that's molded into this handguard right there with ease. So it's a good material, it bonds. You can see the patent number coming through clearly right here. So, you know, if you're doing your part with this, it will mold to whatever shape that you need it to. The kit comes with a lot of material, like I said, and I had enough left over to do the scope here, the Trijicon MRO. The parts that you see uncovered, I chose to leave uncovered, mainly so I would know, you know, the MOA adjustments I might need to make in the future, mainly so I could see when I was making adjustments, you know, my up and down, left and right, so I could turn them, and of course my power settings, because the last thing you want to do is have this scope on a night vision setting and then kill your battery unknowingly because you think it's off. Another thing to be aware in the carbine kit is if you're doing a stepped barrel, do the barrel in sections then. I did the barrel as one large section, and that was a mistake on my part. I should have done a section from here to here, and then a section here to here, and then this is its own section. When I heated the gun up and when I heated the material up and compressed it to the barrel, these sections look great. This section where the grenade cut goes has a lot of wrinkles in it. Now that being said, you can see it close up. Now you don't see it, so it's a minor gig, but it is still there. It doesn't come through all that great on camera, but showing that when you get it hot enough and you press it in hard enough that, you know, the Bushmaster symbol for this rifle comes through, the serial number comes through. So it's not showing up on camera too well, but it is there. They do have you leave safe uncovered for visual, and I think that's a good thing, so there's no doubt. But when you put the gun on fire, the word fire is not there. But then that's not that big a requirement in my book. Knowing that the gun is safe is what's important. Okay, basically what we have here is our photo essay of doing the AR15 GunSkin, as I had mentioned earlier in the video. Our video while we were doing it didn't come out very good, so we're going to go ahead and go with these photos because these actually did come out good as we were doing it, going along with the install. So in our first picture here, we have a picture of the rifle as how it began the process. It had been spray painted at one time, but I've decided to upgrade to GunSkins. So the first thing we had to do was degrease the rifle. I used brake cleaner to do it. When you watch the installation video provided by GunSkins from their website, it tells you to use either CRC brake fluid or frog lube degreaser, but they say just about any degreaser will do. The first part of the install is actually doing the magazine, and they do give you the kit to do one magazine with the rifle. And at that point, you should, even though it's a brand new magazine, in this case I'm using a P-Mag and I did take it straight out of the wrapper, they still recommend degreasing it because it could have oils left over from the factory. So we went ahead and did a degreasing. And then the first step is to go ahead and apply the left side mag decal. And then as you can see, here's a picture of it fitting up in the mag well of the rifle, and it fits in such a way that the two camouflage patterns do mate up, although I haven't camouflaged the rifle when I did the test fitting. From there you see a close-up of the layout of the GunSkins template. You have the pre-cut sections, and they have a big section of material that you can free cut to any shape that you need. The next thing that we have you go into is the first step of applying the GunSkin to the rifle is putting on the left side upper receiver. Once that's done, you go ahead and then put the left side lower receiver on, followed by the left side magwell. Then the selector lever gets applied. Then you flip the rifle over to the right side, and on the right side you start with the dust cover. The next piece you apply after that is a small piece of material that goes right between the dust cover and the fence where the upper and lower receiver mate. Once you've applied that piece, you've heated it up, you've let it cool down, go ahead and take your blade, run it along the seam of the upper and lower receiver so you can break the rifle open when the time comes. The next part that you do is you cover the shell deflector, and it's a two-piece part. The first part goes on the rear of the shell deflector, and the other part is a large curved cutout that perfectly follows the contours of the shell deflector on the front. And after that's complete, you go ahead and apply your right upper receiver decal, And that covers up everything on the upper receiver with the exception of the forward assist. Now, one of the things we forgot to do in this video was take a picture of that when we completed it. So in this next picture, you see not only the completed forward assist, but also the right lower receiver completed. And moving on from there, you go ahead and do the magazine release, which is a two-piece assembly. You have a D-shaped piece that goes around the mag release button, and then you have the actual piece that goes on the button itself. Now on this one, you want to make sure you heat up real good and press it in place so it picks up the contours of the mag release. The next part you go on to after that is the fence, and they have a special cut piece for it that you just follows the perimeter of the fence, and you line it up off the mag well. Once that's done, at the end of that, there is a little piece that goes on the takedown pin, and then from there you go ahead and put on your right side magazine well piece, and that completes your lower receiver. Then you move around to the top. If you have a flat top AR, they have a section for the Picatinny rail, and this is a well thought out section because it goes on like a ladder, and then the pieces between it on the template are designed to go on the raised parts of the Picatinny rail, so the pattern actually mates up pretty well. From there you go on, and it's your choice about what parts you do next, because at this point you've used up all the pre-cut parts in the kit, and now you're into the large section that they put so you can free cut for your stocks and forearms and such. On the rifle I was doing, it had a Surefire M500 forearm. I chose to do that next, and this picture shows the bottom of that forearm. Once again, did not take a picture of the top once it was done, but you'll see it later in the video. After I completed the handguard section, I moved on to the barrel. And I wanted to pass a word of caution here. I've said it elsewhere in the video, but I'll say it again. I had a GI barrel, which means it had the cut for the M203 grenade launcher on it. And I did the whole exposed barrel in one piece. And where the grenade launcher cut was significantly smaller, so when I heated up the material and then pressed it into place, it created wrinkles in the grenade cut section. What I should have done, as mentioned elsewhere in the video, was broke the barrel into 3 sections as far as the material goes, and I would have got a cleaner install. The next part that we have is I moved on to the stock after that. I have a Magpul CTR stock. And in the installation video, I feel they gloss over this, so I would tell you to take your time and be diligent. You're going to do a lot of cutting and pasting here. This stock has a lot of contours on it, and it doesn't lend well for simple cutting and pasting. So you have things you have to cut out, things you have to cut to fit. This is the part of the build that will probably take you the longest. And last but not least, we have what the rifle looked like it was finished. Now, the great thing about the GunSkin's kit is I had extra material, both because I was using an MOE plus grip that's a rubberized feel, so I didn't want to put the GunSkin's material on the Magpul grip, and also they gave enough material that I had plenty left so I could do my MRO scope that I run on this rifle, so I went ahead and did that. As you can see here in the pictures, we have a before picture where the rifle was painted and my camouflaging of the MRO scope was simply green 100-mile-an-hour tape. So I peeled that off, did the degreasing, and then went ahead and used the extra pieces that were available in the kit to go ahead and camouflage the MRO as well. We hope you found this segment about camouflaging the AR-15 with GunSkins helpful and informative. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in for future firearms camouflage videos.